Hi everyone, and welcome back to our series of tutorials where we talk about how to list a property on various booking channels. We have already talked about how to list your property on booking.com and Agoda, and now I would like to continue with another quite interesting channel, which is Vrbo. Now, Vrbo is not that popular in Europe, so we actually don't hear about it quite a lot. But it's very, very common to book a property in the US area through Vrbo. It's basically like an equivalent of Airbnb. Another really, really cool insight about Vrbo is that once you list your property on Vrbo, your property gets actually visible and bookable on Expedia, which is a huge platform, and also on a bunch of another platforms such as, for example, hotels.com and a lot of different other platforms which are all related to Expedia Group. So this is quite a big group of different platforms, and it does make sense, therefore, to get listed here. Now, what you will need to do first and foremost in order to register your property on Vrbo, you will need to create your account. In my case, I've already created one and I'm logged in. Then you will see here in the menu above that there is an option to list your property. You will need to click on that and another tab will open up. Here you are already kind of see that you are guided through the process. And there are two options as well here. So you can create a fresh listing from scratch on your own, or you can skip the whole job and just contact this fast start team, where you will need to fill out this basic form and also add a link of existing listing, like for example, Airbnb listing, and then request a call. In this case, they will do the whole job for you. You will basically only need to check everything, and therefore you can save some time and not to list it on your own. However, at the very beginning, I would say that it may be quite useful to go through the platform yourself and to know where you can correct everything. So maybe the very first listing just create it on your own. And as you will see now, it does not take so much time to do that. So first and foremost, you will need to tell the platform how many bedrooms and bathrooms do you have. Then while clicking on next, you will need to fill out the address, like we are located here in Austria. So I would just pick up any street. You can add a unit number, but it's an optional thing. Then the country already will be recognized, as well as the city and the state. The zip code, the one you will need to add here, kind of a map appears up. You can, by adding a unit number, you can actually make the address more precise, which may be useful for some of the guests, but not necessarily do you need to do that. So as you can see, the layout is kind of the same as Airbnb. They have some similarities. Now, basically, they can tell you how much you could have earned, etc. Skip that step. And you will be guided to kind of another page where first of all, you have some kind of a list of what you will need to fill out in order to actually be able to go live. And then here you will find there are three sections about the property, staying at your property, which is more about the rules and fees for the guests, and then managing your property, which is more about check-in, check-out times, and some extra information in terms of the property. Now, I would suggest it's quite easy to actually do it on your own, but we still do a test and go through it step by step all together. I will create some sort of, a test listing or something. So the very first point you see here, you will need to add like basic amenities your property has. It's actually quite a small list here. So compared, for example, to booking.com, maybe what can also be the case that while creating your listing at the very beginning, you will not have so many options. after you go live, there are some other options you will have in order to add some extra information. So it's basically the same principle as on Airbnb. Then you will need to decide what kind of property is it. So you have here a drop-down menu, basically, you can choose from. Let's go with apartment. Then you have information about the bedroom and bathroom. You can add some details where you, for example, can define the room name. Also add necessary information regarding bed type, which is quite important for the guest. How many of those do you offer? And there is also an extra section with bedroom amenities. In this case, actually, there is only one point. Just click, make sure you click on it, and then you go on save. Basically, the same goes for the bathroom as well. A name, then there is an option here between full and half bathroom type. Not really sure exactly what that is supposed to mean, but just to be secure, better always choose full. And then also here you have like some amenities bathroom has. Just make sure you click on everything that is relevant, not more, not less. Then there is an option, of course, to add an extra bedroom or bathroom or another sleeping space. Like, for example, if you have a living room and there is a sofa bed in there, how many of those, or maybe you can even add another bed type if, for example, you have extra beds which you offer to the guest, and then just click on save. That's pretty much it. You can also add another place, like for example, also an office. Really depends on how big your property is. Next, what you will need to do is to add some of the photos of your property, at least 6 of them, but recommended amount of photos is about 10, as you can see here. For now, we will skip it, so I do not really waste your time. Then you will need to come up with a headline, and you can even get some inspirations, like inspirational ideas here. In my case, I will just come up with any basic name here. You can see here that you have 80 letters, so make sure that your heading is not way too long. Actually, the shorter it is, the better, because people do not really read it. They just, maybe search for specific terms or words sometimes, maybe, places to go or, great spots in the city and so on. Then you will need to come up with a description where you can actually mention a lot of different things, like about the property, about the area, about the surroundings, some basic information, maybe regarding check-in. You can add anything. You have quite a lot of space here, like about 10,000 letters. You can use ChatGPT actually in order to help you create a very interesting, fulfilling description, and even try to, make this description also more CEO oriented. So just make sure you use some of the keywords and common terms, words, spots people may look for. So yes, also for this you can use ChatGPT or any other AI based program out there. Quite a lot of them do exist. It does make sense to try it out. Then we actually are done with section 1, and we are continuing with section 2 right away. Here you will need to define how many guests can stay at the property, what is the maximum adults amount you actually can accommodate. And what is quite cool here, you can add an additional note for the guest in case there is some specific information which needs to be considered. For example, yes, 4 people can stay at your apartment, but the sofa bed is a little bit small, so people have to take it into account while booking for really 4 adults, and not like, for example, a family with 2 children and 2 adults. So you can actually add this node in order to make it more even more informative for the guest. Then there is like this basic question regarding the age requirement in your property. I would actually leave it here the way it is. Also, you can add here an additional note for the guest. Then you actually define whether you allow events or not, whether pets are allowed or not. Also information regarding children. Here, actually quite interesting because these age groups, age brackets, they are already defined by the Vrbo. So you do not have the opportunity to change these categories, like from, for example, 0 to 3 instead of 0 to 2, and so on. What you can do, however, if it's important to you, is to ask the support team to help you out with that and to change it for you specifically. Especially, it might be necessary if you have a different children policy on other channels, like, for example, booking.com. In case it's not possible, you will need to decide whether you kind of edit it on another platforms, or you just have these differences on various platforms. So it's up to you. And then last question is whether smoking is allowed or not. Here you can also add some information for the guest, like, for example, the charge. For example, if you're charging guests who arrive with children in the age of 13 to 17 years old, mention it so the guest sees it. Then next step is about fees. If you accept pets, for example, you can add here a pet fee. In case you do not offer any possibility to come with pets, then just leave it out and skip the step. What is important to type in here is the banking country or region. Then you define this base price. And here, of course, important to understand, if you already are using a channel manager and define your prices in your PMS, then this will be sent automatically to all the channels, Vrbo inclusive. Once you haven't connected it yet, I would suggest just type in any nightly base rate, which should be a little bit higher than your usual price is, just in case that in this time range, while you are connecting your Vrbo account to your PMS, someone books that you are not underpriced at this particular period. So you can actually set even a higher price, so it's up to you. Then there is also a possibility to offer a discount for the first 3 guests, up to you whether you want it to have or not. Then the cleaning fee amount, which you can define per night or per stay. For the cleaning, it's always per stay. Actually, for pets, it can be per night, of course, which does make more sense than per stay. However, it's also up to you. And as I already mentioned, if you do not allow pets, then just leave it out. You will need to agree to terms and conditions. You can have a detailed look on what kind of terms those are precisely on your own. Then moving forward, you will have here some check-in and check-out information. So what is the check-in time, the check-out, the shortest number of nights a guest can stay relates to minimum length of stay on all the other platforms. Here, for example, 3 is suggested or less for more bookings. I would go with 2 at the beginning. Of course, it relates more or less to your general policy, which is a part of your pricing strategy, which is a different topic, and we will discuss it in the next video. But for now, maybe you just need to come up with, this basic minimum length of stay. So it can be 1, it can be 2, and so on. How many days before booking or before check-in do you accept bookings? Let's go with 1. Let's make it more flexible. And how many months in advance can guests book your property? here you can decide. So for example, if you are working on your prices manually and do not really use any pricing tool, then I would actually say just choose 6 months, so half of the year, like a season. If you're working with a professional pricing tool and your prices is basically calculated in advance, you can go with 1 year or 18 months. In my case, I would go with 18 months because the pricing tool I'm working with does calculate prices exactly for this period in advance. So moving on to the next step, it's about availability. Now, this one is quite interesting here because, first of all, you will need to decide whether your property has a limited ability. For example, you only rent it out for summer period, or whether it's an open calendar where the property is actually available throughout the whole year. Now, once you've selected this, what is interesting here that you will actually need to define the start and the end date. The whole property is available. So let's say the start date is 23rd of December, which is today, and the end date can be, I don't know, maybe a year in advance or so. That's it, and you say, well, this is available. Now, of course, if you have already bookings existing on other platforms, maybe it would be smarter to say, well, it's blocked. So even if you go live and you haven't connected your Vrbo account to your PMS yet, no overbookings, can possibly happen to you. So this is quite important to keep in mind. Of course, if all your properties are not bookable yet on any of the channels, then you can be absolutely sure that your calendar can remain opened. Yeah, but just be aware of this because this thing is actually the one that differentiates Vrbo from many other platforms that you need to select, in the calendar itself for how long does your property is available, for how long can the guest book it. Then there is also a section which already correlates to the managing your property section, which is basically about you as a host. So you will need to say whether you're a private or professional host, where are you located as a business, as an owner. Also, this address here is not my real one, just street number. And then you can say what is your legal name. And in case you're a private host, it would be your name. In case you're a professional one, it may be a company, of course. So it is a bit different story here because, for example, you will be asked for your business name. Yeah, but let's stay with private host in order to make it a bit easier. Then the next step will actually be the registration. For now, we have everything covered, so we move on. And also an interesting thing here, you are asked how do you collect taxes from the guests. In this case, a tourism tax is meant, but also another taxes, like for example, the VAT and everything else. You have three options here: that you collect it personally, that you do not have it included in the price, or you collect a certain percentage of the rental amount during booking. And you can actually decide which kind of percentage is it, or do not include it, and you actually have it already covered as an extra point. So it's up to you. How do you want to organize it here? So moving on, it's basically almost done. You only have these 2 points you will need to refill before going live. Once you have these points covered, you again will have like an overview of the whole information you've typed in. You can always edit it and you can basically go live. That is pretty much it about VRBO. Once you are live, you will need to make sure that you are connected to your channel manager. And also once you're live, please double check all the points and also how does the guest see the listing, whether something is missing and so on. And in case you need to add an extra information or an extra point, there are always two ways. You can rather do it yourself in extranet, and you may have more options after going live where you can, fill out some, extra information or redefine your policies, cancellation policies, and so on. You can only change it once you are live. That's why I cannot show it to you right now. And in case any questions occur, like any other platform, VRBO has a support number and a support email, so you can contact them directly in order to have something, edited or anything else related to the reservation and so on. So I hope this video could help you a little bit to get an idea of how VRBO works and looks like. And we'll see each other in the next videos. Thank you so much.